Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are well, that you have survived the intense heat that we've dealt with this week. The sunglasses are up here because my hair's decided to go full Monica Geller. It's too hot, but alas, I still wanted to make some kind of video, and I am actually not at home and I'm not watching theatre, but I'm away. And I was like, you know what, I've got a quiet house, let's do some looking for theatre tickets because it's an ongoing thing. So I hopped on Today Tix, and since the last time I went on Today Tix, because it's been a while, it turns out that there has been some changes to the app, and one of those is an information screen that, alongside telling you what tier you're in and how many tickets you're away from unlocking the next tier, also tells you how long you've been a member since and how many tickets you bought this year and your Tix cash. Don't like that name, but that's a story for a different day. It also informs me that I've seen 47 shows. So I started looking through my past orders like you do, and it got me intrigued. So I then looked back at every show that I've seen through Today Tix, their prices, and I was like, you know what? I really enjoy a video on TikTok where people show what they saw in a month and how much their tickets cost. I love that kind of video. Never made it before myself. And I was like, you know what? Let's do that. So let's talk about the shows I've seen through Today Tix, how much they cost, and give them a little rating too. Why not? Little cheeky rating. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in watching, stick around and get into it in 2 whole seconds. So it turns out that I have been a user of Today Tix since 2017. I'm going to try and get this quite snappy and make sure that we're not all just going to watch a very long video. But grab yourself a beverage. I've got a Coke, and let's get into it with 2017, where it turns out I used the app once. And back in 2017, I didn't understand Today Tix because the one show I used the app to watch was Matilda, a show that I quite enjoy. Like, it's a happily 4-star show. I haven't seen it in ages. It's one that I need to get back to. But I paid £88 for my ticket. I believe I probably put myself on the stalls, and I'd probably do it again, but I didn't know about Rush. I didn't know about how to use Today Tix to get a decent price ticket. I needed to do some learning, but we all need to start somewhere. Then we went into 2018, where my first ticket was, in fact, I learned it was a Rush ticket. I sat, I believe, like stalls, front stalls, and I saw Dreamgirls at Savoy. What a show that was. I really would like it to come back. I know we had a UK tour a few years back, but it's kind of one of those shows that it's just really, I was gonna say fun. Is fun the word I need? Probably not. But it's an enjoyable show, and it has some powerhouse vocals in it. That viewing of Dreamgirls actually kick-started my love for Marisha Wallace because she was on as Effie that day. But £23 to sit in the front of the Savoy was insane. And yeah, it's great. Also, I think another 4-starer. Next up we had comedy about a bank robbery. I paid £57.50 for that ticket, and I'm going to say it, I think that bank robbery is actually one of Mischief's best shows. Controversial, but I quite enjoy the aspect of it not necessarily going wrong. It had a separate plot, it had silliness, it had a bit of that physical visual comedy, but that wasn't what the show was necessarily about. It had a plot with a plot line, and it just worked really, really well. It was in the Criterion. I just really enjoyed the show, and I hope at one point Mischief decided to bring it back, even if it's for a short period of time, because it was just really, really fun. I have again put 4 stars next to this, and yeah, I would happily have bank robbery back, just saying. I'm sure I'm not the only one either. Next up we've got Kinky Boots. I paid £28 for that ticket. I believe I was planning to watch something else when I did it, so it was kind of a not rush, but what Today Tix used to do, which they don't do anymore. And I could be absolutely spouting lies at you here, but I'm sure back in the day they used to have rush, and then if there were still tickets available that weren't rush tickets, they would be like, hey, you've missed out on this ticket, but we have a cheapy ticket here if you want that. And I think I jumped at that. I was like, yes, I should take that ticket from you, thank you very much. I am a massive fan of Kinky Boots. I think I said this in a recent video that I'm excited but also quite nervous for this UK tour. I'm gonna wait for more casting, and we'll leave it at that. But the Adelphi version of Kinky Boots was elite. It's where my love came for the show, and it's going to be obviously a 5-star show for me. Next up we had Six. This is back when it was at the Arts Theatre, and this is where it just shows how much of a journey this show has gone on. I sat row B in the stalls at the Arts Theatre, and I paid £19.50 for a ticket. I bought 2 tickets. That cost, which I think, I want to say is like 30, no, I'm not going to do the math, but the amount that I paid for 2 tickets back in 2018 for Six probably would get me mid-dress circle nowadays. But yeah, it was pretty much original arts cast, and it's again a show that I need to go back to at some point, but it's also a show I don't think I would get rushed for, because the Six fans, as much as I love theatre fans, the Six fans are a bit insane, and there is usually next to no chance of winning a rush ticket for that show, or in my experience that is how I found. It's one show that I need to go back to, but again I think it's a solid 4-star show from me. Looking in 2018, next we had another rush ticket for 42nd Street. It was playing in the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, and I just have fond memories of seeing that show. I don't remember the full cast, but I do remember that in it was Bonnie Langford, amongst others. See, I don't remember any of the cast. If you put me in front of the programme, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I remember everyone in it, but right now I cannot. But 42nd Street is one of those shows that I absolutely adore. It has lovely music, it has great tap, just it's one of those shows that has just such a fun feeling to it, and I just really enjoy it. So much so, I would probably give it a 5 stars. Woohoo! Last in 2018, I spent another £25 to watch Eugenius. Now this is Eugenius back in the day with the likes of Dan Buckley and other people. Why can I not remember any cast today? But the original, The Other Palace, Eugenius, it was just a fun, feel-good musical. I actually missed the most recent iteration that went on, which I was kind of gutted about, but my skills and situation when it was on was just like out of my control. But I really enjoyed it back in the day. It was, like I say, fun, it was an easy watch, and it was a little bit geeky and nerdy, and I just really enjoyed that. I have given it a 4.5. Ooh, almost a 5. I'm not going to give my reasons. Before I get into 2019, I thought I probably should explain the whole star system. I'm not someone who is very strict in their stars. Basically 1 to 5, 1 being that I didn't enjoy it, wouldn't recommend it. 2 is it had its good parts, but it wasn't my favourite and probably would not recommend it to others. 3 is that it's an average show, it is pretty decent. I would begin to recommend. 4 is that I really enjoyed it, would recommend, and a 5 is that it was a definite must watch and I will be returning ASAP. That kind of jazz. That's also kind of the star rating I give videos and reviews when I do my chatty review videos. Like I said, I'm not one of those people who is very strict in their rating systems, because I'm not a strict person. I'm not a strict individual. But that is that. We're moving on to 2019, where the first show I think was another rush ticket. I would assume by price that it was. It was Caroline or Change. Now I've given this 3.5/4. Why? Because I was with cold, like an intense cold, when I saw Caroline or Change. It was part of a 2-show day. I also watched Company in the evening, and I think I paid an insane amount of money for that. Didn't buy it through Today Tix. But if you've never watched Caroline or Change, it is an interesting storyline to get yourself through, because there is the main character, if you will, which is Caroline, but then there are other characters such as a bus and a washing machine and a moon, alongside other human characters like a family who is who Caroline works for. I'm not explaining it, and it's very like mixed up in my head, but the reason that I think I've given it 3.5/4 was its cast, because in that cast was Sharon D. Clarke, Akko Mitchell, and I want to say Tashawn was in there. Again, I'd have to look through my programme, if I even bought programmes back in that day, because I'm not sure if I did. But it was an epic cast, but when you're quite strongly on like cold and flu medicine, seeing a show like that was something special. But we move on. Next up in 2019, we had Waitress. Again, another 5-star show for me, just because Waitress, like Kinky Boots, they're 2 of my favourites. So much so, for this time round seeing the show, I paid £85.25p. Very specific price. Why the 25p? Why not round it down to 85 or up to 86? We don't know. But yeah, I was a fan of Waitress. I still to this day love the pie show and hope one day it comes back. Moving on to another show that I really enjoyed and another one I've definitely given 5. That's Come From Away. I paid £45 for the ticket and I would do that over and over again. In fact, spoiler alert, it will happen again later in this list. I absolutely adore Come From Away. It makes me cry every time, but it's just the story of humanity and how humanity can be at their best when the time gets hard. And sometimes you just need that story, although it will make you cry, to boost you up and make you remember things, remember how you should be. I'm not explaining it properly, but it's a show I adore. So let's move on. After Come From Away we have Falsettos, which I paid £25 for. I've again done 3.5/4 for the same reason I did Caroline Unchained. The cast was really fun, and Falsettos is a show that I really wanted to see come over to the UK. I was slightly obsessed with the Broadway cast that included Andrew Reynolds, Christian Boyle and Stephanie J. Block, just to name a few. And so when they announced that they were going to put on a production in London, I was like, yes, I'm there. The cast they put together from memory included Joel Montague, Natasha J. Barnes, Oliver Saville, I think, Daniel Boyes. There was other people, but again, I'm doing this off my brain and my brain has fully switched off for the summer. But I don't know whether it was the space putting it in the other palace that did it, or I don't know, but I feel like with that show I kind of had the expectation of the Broadway production, which I'd seen so much of online, and I know you shouldn't compare, but I think at the time I did, and still to this day I still think the Broadway one was better. Sorry. Next up in 2019 we had Grown Ups, another mischief one that I wish they will bring back at some point. Again, it's one of my favourites because just like Bank Robbery earlier on, Grown Ups was a play that was a lot less silly. In fact, there was a lot less physical comedy, apart from flopping hamsters, and if you've not seen the show that just sounds weird, but it was more of a serious piece of comic work. I'm not explaining it well, but I really enjoyed it, and the fact it was based in a school also made it really funny for me, because I work in the educational world, so I kind of took amusement out of certain things that went on throughout the show. So yeah, did I even say how much I paid for the ticket? No, I probably didn't. I paid £57.50, and I've definitely put it down as a 4.5/5. I know, exciting. Moving on, we have And Juliet, where again, really weird pricing. I paid £66.55. Why? Why not 67 or 65? Was it that there was like fees in there? I don't know, because I can't access a great deal, and when you go through your past orders and you look at the receipt, it literally tells you your purchase date and your ticket price. So I don't know, some of that is fees, but £66.55 just sounds really hot. But getting back to the show itself, And Juliet I really enjoyed. I'm excited to see it on its current UK tour, although I'm interested to see some of the casting choices, but that's a story for when I see the show. I have given the 2019 version a 4 stars because it was fun and I enjoyed the music, and the cast was pretty good too. Then we have Waitress again. Paid a little bit less on that one. After paying £85.25 in the first time round, I paid £45 for my second watch. And be prepared because it's coming back again. Moving into 2020, I only saw 2 shows in that year. Can't think why. Have no clue. First we had Prince of Egypt, which played at the Dominion. I have given it a 3.5/4, mainly because it was ridiculously long. However, the cast is amazing and the visual effects I remember as like a pivotal thing. I feel like Prince of Egypt is one of those ones you can watch on stream. I might have to check that out because there's a few shows that you can get on like streaming websites, which names have gone out my head right now, that I would quite like to watch again, including Kinky Boots. But Prince of Egypt I paid £25 for. I don't know if I said. It's not one that I'd rush to go and watch again in the flesh on a sofa by myself. Yes. The other show I saw through Today Tix in 2020 was Waitress. Could you believe that was going to happen? This time around I paid £49.50. So we're averaging about £50 a go to go and watch Waitress, and I watched it 3 times. That's socially acceptable. What can I say? I'm a fan. Moving into 2021, we had Amelie. Amelie I absolutely adore. If you know my normal recording space, you'll know that it's usually an Amelie poster on it. So I'm going to clearly give it a 5-star rating, and I paid £56.25 for it. The other fun fact about Amelie is that I saw it twice in the space of 2 weeks. I can't remember if I saw it with my friends first or if I watched it alone first. But yeah, I became obsessed with the show really quickly and very late into its Criterion run, and therefore I didn't see it as many times as I wish I had, which I'm kind of gutted about. Would love it to come back. Still in 2021, we have The Last 5 Years. Our ticket I paid £38 for, and I've given it a 4-star rating. That version, if my memory serves me correctly, was put on at the Garrick Theatre. I secretly love The Last 5 Years. The music in it is amazing, and it's a 2-person musical, and I just really enjoy it. The last one in 2021 we don't need to talk too much about because I've already previously mentioned it. It's Come From Away, where again I spent £45. I saw the show 3 times, twice through Today Tix, and I paid the same price both times, and I think I pretty much sat in the same spot, which is kind of cool. It's nice to know that COVID didn't up the price of that show, because I saw it before COVID and then mid-COVID. Interesting. Moving into 2022, we have The Drifter's Girl, which was another rush ticket. It is another 5-star because I absolutely adored that show. The cast were insane. I saw it with Beverly Knight as the Drifter's Girl herself, Faye Treadway. My brain was just like, I can't help you, I'm too up. I saw Beverly Knight as Faye Treadway. It was insane. Also, fun tidbit from that evening, 3 rows in front of me was the one, the only Lenny Henry. Oh yes. All the West Midlands people in the room together. Me, Beverly Knight and Lenny Henry. Next up we had Back to the Future, another £25 rush ticket, I'm assuming. I need to get back to Back to the Future because I have not seen it in 2 years, so it'd be nice to go back. I went into that show, however, not knowing the plot of the show or the film. Still not seen the film. That's a story for a different day. But physically and visibly, it was just a really fun musical, and I would quite like to go back. Did I even say that I would give it 4 stars? I do not know. But there we are. Still in 2022, we have Kinky Boots in concert. I spent £50 on the ticket and it was a full 5-star concert. I absolutely loved that cast that they put in for that show. It was a one night only affair 2 years ago. Here's me thinking 2022 was last year. 2 years ago, the Theatre Royal Drury Lane put on, I think, 3 musicals over 3 days. So there was Kinky Boots, there was Chess, and there was another one. Was that Treason? No, I can't remember. I went to see Kinky Boots in concert. Lola was played by the one, the only Cedric Neal, and the things that I would do to have Cedric be Lola in a full production. Just saying. It was £50 well spent, and if I can get Kinky Boots in any form whatsoever, I will take it. And I did. Finishing off the list for 2022, we have The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Now, we all know that I am a massive fan of that show as well. Again, just like with Amelie, if I'd be at home in my normal setting, there'd be Amelie on one shoulder and Aslan on the other one. I can give it no less than 5 stars, and I paid £25 for the delightful privilege of going to see the show. Throughout making this video, I've realised how much I can yammer on, so I'm actually going to make this a 2-part video. This being the cut-off, we're going to get into 2023 and what I've seen so far in 2024 in the next one, which I'm going to put up relatively close to each other. So in case you want to know the rest of my list, then stick around and we'll get into it in next time's video. But I don't want to make these videos too long, and we're already probably approximately 27 minutes because I've had to stop and start the camera at least once. So I hope you enjoyed part 1. I am going to literally pause and start again for part 2. So thank you for watching this part, and I will see you very, very shortly in YouTube time for part 2. Thank you very much for watching. All that's left to say is the usual. I love you all lots, and I hope to see you next time. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and adieu. Bye.